Shalom. First off, I'd like to give it all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, continue to teach us this truth, and salutations to Joachim out there doing the work of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai sincerely. All right. So this is going to be a lesson, all right, a multi-part lesson on the rise of the Medeo Persian Empire. On my channel right now, there is one on the Neo-Babylonian Empire where we went through Nebuchadnezzar's reign and pretty much all the history associated with that. And I'm trying a new type of format for this for this kingdom, and Lord willing, this is the format that I'm going to keep. I have already made this lesson, but there were some things that I did improperly. So I'm going to try to go ahead and, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Yahweh, get this done a little better. All right. So where did we leave off? So that last lesson left off here at Daniel chapter 5. And we're pretty much just going to read Daniel chapter 5 down to the end. And, we're going to break it down line by line and see where we left off historically speaking. It says, and for the, this is Daniel 5 and 19. It says, and for the majesty that he gave him, all peoples, nations, and languages trembled and feared him, and feared before him, who he slew and whom he kept alive, and whom he set up, and whom he put down. All right. So this is talking about Nebuchadnezzar. And it says, but when his heart was lifted up and his mind hardened in pride, he was deposed from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. Exactly, because Nebuchadnezzar, what happened? Nebuchadnezzar was a very powerful ruler at the time of his empire, in the Neo-Babylonian Empire, but he got lifted up in pride. He got proud, all right? And his pride is eventually what ended up being his downfall. The Lord ended up cursing him, all right? And it says, and he was driven from the sons of men. His heart was made like the beast, and his dwelling was with the wild asses. They fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High ruled the kingdom of men, and that he appointeth over it whomsoever he will. Exactly. So the Lord pretty much humbled Nebuchadnezzar, and he made him act like an animal. All right. And until Nebuchadnezzar pretty much acknowledged and learned who was in charge, the Lord kept him in that lowered state. It says, and thou his son, his son, O Belshazzar, hast not humbled thine heart, thou knewest all this, though thou knewest all this, but hast lifted up thyself against the Lord of heaven, and they have brought the vessels of his house before thee, and thou and thy lords, thy wives, thy concubines have drunk wine in them. And thou hast praised the gods of silver and gold, of brass, iron, wood, and stone, which see not, hear not, nor know. And the God in whose hand thy breath is, and whose are all thy ways, hast thou not glorified. All right. So Nebuchadnezzar's son Belshazzar was ruling in his stead, but he kind of fell into the same trap, man. He was partying, he was drinking wine, he was kind of doing the same things. All right. And he wasn't praising Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. He was praising the gods of iron, these gods who do not hear nor see nor know. All right. So he kind of fell into the same trap that his father did. All right. And then it says, then was the part of the hand sent from him, and this writing was written. And in this writing that was written, Mene, Mene, Tekel, Upsharhin, Tekel, Upsharhin. This is the interpretation of the thing. Mene, God hath numbered thy kingdom and finished it. Tekel, thou art weighted in the balance and are found wanting. Paris, thy kingdom is divided and given to the Medes and the Persians. So this was this hand that wrote this was essentially giving Belshazzar pretty much putting the last nail on the coffin, as they say, because pretty much after this happened, his kingdom fell immediately. And this one right here in 28 is the point, like one of the most important points here. It says that kingdom is divided, given to the Medes and to the Persians, because historically that's who would come and take over the Neo-Babylonian Empire. It says, then commanded Belshazzar, and they clothed Daniel with scarlet and put chains of gold and put a chain of gold about his neck and made a proclamation concerning him that he should be the third ruler of the kingdom. And in that night, Belshazzar, the king of the Chaldeans, was Chaldeans slain, and Darius the Median took the kingdom, being about 62 years old. So this is where pretty much the rule of the Medeo Persian Empire starts, right here, historically speaking, and from a prophetic level. All right, so we're going to go into kind of some of these details here. So one of the first things that we're going to look at is who was Darius the Mede. All right, so we're just going to go here into the interlinear, and we're going to look for the word Daniel. Not Daniel, Darius rather. I'm actually not too familiar using the Blue Letter Bible on the computer, so it's going to be a learning experience. Let's see, phrase, tools. Well, the word there is Darayawash. All right, and I'm trying to go into it so we can look at the definition. Just bear with me for a second. Yeah. Okay. So we got to click the Hebrew. So the word here in the Hebrew is Dara Yawash. All right, and it says Darius, Lord. It says Darius the Mede, the son of Ahasuerus, king of the Chaldeans, who succeeded to the Babylonian kingdom on the death of Belshazzar, probably the same as Astyages, the last king of the Medes. All right. So this is who we're going to be speaking about. This is talking about Astyages. All right. And we're going to just confirm that with this commentary here, which I believe this is from Ellicott's. I'm going to look at the one here for Ellicott's. It says, on Darius the Mede, it says, was made king. The phrase corresponds with took the kingdom, Daniel 5:31, and shows Darius was not king by his own right, but that he received his authority from another. Is this what I was looking for? Let me see. Yeah. Salakia, no, this is not what I was looking for. Daniel 9:1, right here. It says, in the first year of Darius, son of Ahasuerus, and this of the seed of the Medes, was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. All right, so that's in Daniel's 9:1. So we're gonna go to Daniel 9:1 real quick. So Daniel 9:1, it says, in the first year of Darius, son of Ahasuerus, of the seed of the Medes, which was made king over the realm of the Chaldeans. Exactly. So this is talking about Astyages. Right? This is talking about Astyages. All right. So now we're gonna go to Daniel 6:1. So now here, Daniel 6:1, it says, Daniel 6:1, it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom, and over these three presidents, of whom Daniel was first, and the princes might give account unto them, and the king should have no damage. All right, so this is just solidifying the fact that Darius, as a king, all right, as soon as he became king, what did he do? He divided up the lands. All right, he made Daniel president over these lands. All right. So now we're gonna quickly go into this. Matter of fact, let's hit this scripture right here. This is Isaiah 45:1. This is Isaiah chapter 45, verse 1. And it says, "Thus saith the Lord to his anointing, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden to subdue nations before him. I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him two-leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut. I will go before thee to make crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass and cut in sunder the bars of iron." All right. So this is what this is this is showing a co-regency. All right. This is showing a co-regency. Two kings ruling at once. All right, because we did read here that right here in Ellicott's commentary that Cyrus was the one who appointed Astyages. All right, so now we're gonna go and read about Astyages here in Wikipedia. And then it's because right now it's kind of convoluted, but you got to remember this is the Medeo and the Persian Empire. So these are two two nations, all right, that are ruling essentially together. It says Astyages, uh, and it says Astyages was the last king of the Median Empire, son of Caesarus, was dethroned in 550 by his grandson Cyrus the Great. It says Astyages succeeded his father in 585 BCE, following the Battle of Halys, which ended a 5-year war between the Lydians and the Medes. All right, and this is the point that we're looking for here in Herodotus. It says the account given by the ancient Greek historian Herodotus relates that Astyages had a dream in which his daughter Mandani gave birth to a son who would destroy his empire. Fearful of this dream's prophecy, Astyages married her off to Cambyses I of Anson, who had a reputation of being quiet and thoughtful prince, and whom Astyages believed to be no threat. When the second dream warned Astyages of the dangers of Mandani's offspring, Astyages sent his general Harpagus to kill the child Cyrus. Herodotus correctly named Cyrus's parents, though he fails to mention that Cambyses was a king. Modern scholarship generally rejects the claim that Cyrus was the grandson of Astyages. Harpagus, unwilling to spill royal blood, gave the infant to a shepherd, Mithridates, whose wife had just given birth to a stillborn. Cyrus was raised as Mithridates' own son, and Harpagus presented the stillborn child to Astyages as the dead Cyrus. When Cyrus was found to be alive at the age of 10, Astyages spared the boy on the advice of his magi's, returning him to his parents in Anshan. Harpagus, however, did not escape punishment, as Astyages is said to have fed him his own son at a banquet. Cyrus succeeded his father in 55, 55-9 and 55 and 553, and on the advice of Harpagus, who was eager for revenge for being given the abominable supper, Cyrus rebelled against Astyages. After 3 years of fighting, Astyages' troops mutinied during the Battle of Passagrady, and Cyrus conquered the Median Empire. Astyages was spared by Cyrus, and despite being taunted by Harpagus, Herodotus said he was treated well and remained in Cyrus's court until his death. All right, so this is where it's coming together now. All right, so this is why it mentioned that that Astyages took over the this is why it says that Astyages took over, or that Darius took over the Neo-Babylonian Empire, and he killed Belshazzar. He was able to kill Belshazzar because he was under the guides, or under the auspice of Cyrus, who was ruling at the time. All right, but he was the while Darius was the Mede, Cyrus was the Persian. All right. It says Astyages was already read that. It says rather than giving the popular mythology that Cyrus was suckled by a dog, the dog was sacred to the Persians. Also, the legend of Sargon and similar legend of Romelius and Remus, suckled by the she-wolf. Herodotus explained that herdsman Mithridates lived with another of Astyages' slave, a woman named Spaco, who he explains is Median for dog. in which gives both the legend and Herodotus a rationalized version. All right. So basically, this is just going through the history. So this is the relation between Astyages and Cyrus. All right. So now we're gonna go into this website here. This is called Jesus Walks, and I find it to be a pretty useful resource for things like this in these history lessons. So we're just gonna go read a few excerpts here. It says the Median Empire was certainly massive, even to be considered a major empire on a world stage. While the Neo-Babylonian Empire consisted of what we call the Fertile Crescent along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers and the eastern coast of the Mediterranean, the Median Empire extended north to the Black and Caspian Seas, as far east as the Indus River and as far west as a part of Asia Minor. As the Neo-Assyrian Empire went into decline, vassal states such as Media and Babylon stopped paying tribute to the Assyrians, and in 612, the Medians and their allies captured the Assyrian capital of Nineveh. Free of Assyrian domination, the Medes grew their empire from their capital in Ecbatana and extended it north from northeastern Iran to Halys River, the Kizilmak River in Asia Minor, present-day northern central Turkey. Media was considered one of the four major powers in the ancient Near East, along Babylon, Lydia, and Egypt. According to the kings listed, according to the king's list compiled from Herodotus and the Babylonian Chronicle, which are cuneiform tablets, Cyrus reigned 624 to 585. He developed the united Median state by bringing together Iranian tribes and conquering territory. He formed an alliance with Neo-Babylonia against the Assyrians, sealed by marriage to his daughter to Nebuchadnezzar II. The Medians were instrumental, along with Babylon and allies, for the fall of the Assyrian Empire. So this is kind of the history that I went over in the previous lesson, where pretty much Babylon, the Medes, and other countries, just like this, such as the Scythians, they kind of all ganged up together and went against Assyria. And then this ended up being the rise of Nebuchadnezzar and his tribes and his kingdom. It says the Medes were instrumental, along with with Babylon and allies, for the fall of the Assyrian kingdom. Cyrus was followed by his son Astyages as the king of the Medes, reigning from 585 to 549. During this time, the Persians, one of the six Iranian tribes that made up the united Median state, others include the Medes, Scythians, and Parthians. In 553 BC, Cyrus the Great, king of Persia, rebelled against his grandfather Astyages, king of the Medes, who won a decisive victory over him in 550 BC. After this, the Medes were now subject to their close kin, the Persians, who now ruled over and expanded the Medeo Persian Empire. When Cyrus conquered Babylon in 539 BC, the Medes and the Persians took over the territory of Neo-Babylonia and ruled over the largest empire so far known in the West. All right. So that's kind of like a quick overview of pretty much everything that was going on. So now we're gonna go back to real quick that dream that Medani had. All right. And just to kind of understand what we're kind of like the folklore and the history. Um, so now we're gonna go into the page here of Medani of Media, or Madonna of Media. Was Shabanu of Media, and later queen consort of Cambyses the first of Anshan, mother of Cyrus the Great. All right. Now we're gonna go into Madonna in Herodotus' histories. Shortly after her birth, Herodotus reports that Astyages had a strange dream where his daughter urinated so much that Asia would flood. He consulted the magicians, the magicians, who interpreted the dream as a warning that Madani's son will overthrow his rule. To forestall that outcome, Astyages betrothed Medani to a vassal prince, Cambyses of Ashan, a man of good family and quiet habits, who Astyages considered to be no threat to the Median throne. Astyages had a second dream where Madani became pregnant, where a vine grew from her womb and overtook the world. All right, terrified, he sent his most loyal court retainer Harpagus to kill the child. However, Harpagus loathed to spill royal blood and hid the child. Cyrus II with a shepherd named Mithridates. Years later, Cyrus will defy his grandfather Astyages, leading to a war between them, a war that Cyrus would have lost, but Harpagus' defection at the Battle of Passagrady, leading to the overthrow of Astyages, as the dream had forecasted. Okay, so this is just further confirmation, all right, in terms of the history. You know, this is just further confirmations in terms of the history related to you know, Cyrus, Darius, and the rise of the Medeo Persian Empire. So we're gonna pause here, and we're gonna continue in the next part. All right. So until next time, shalom.